Police officers of Reddit, what's the best case of instant karma you delivered to an ***HOLE driver on the highway? I'm a border patrol agent near a few two-lane highways, with limited opportunities to pass due to all the hills and curves. I will regularly pull over old people driving motorhomes at 45 miles per hour in 65 miles per hour zones. The reason being, is they have a line of 20 plus vehicles behind them trying to pass them. One couple I pulled over were particularly pissed off they got pulled over. When I told them there was line of cars behind them trying to pass, they got all huffy and told me I wasn't a real cop and to go fuck myself. Their records came back clean, so I sent them on their way. About 20 minutes later I see them on the side of the road, with smoke billowing out the back of their camper. Me and another agent pulled in behind to help them. As I pulled the fire extinguisher out of my car, the old lady passenger was like, "Help." He dropped his cigarette in the back. I went in the back of the trailer to help the old man battling the blaze. I managed to put out most of the fire inside, but it had caught the insulation or something, so the fire was on the outside of the camper too. The old man asked if I would give him a hand with it. I said I don't know, I'm not a real firefighter. I was the asshole who got immediate karma from a police officer. I was driving from Texas to Phoenix at night. I'm in right lane when I see headlights behind me. Driver is on my ass and I'm getting annoyed because I'm in the right lane, cruising at the speed limit. He continues to get dangerously close and then hard swerves into the left and accelerates quickly past me, but not before I stick my middle finger out the window and yell "fuck you." Tailgater was a highway patrolman. Pulled me over and gave me a ticket for an obscene gesture in public. Seriously. It was a dark and rainy November afternoon. I was crewed in an unmarked car with my fave partner for this late shift, which we were only an hour into. We were stationary, stuck in rush hour traffic, just trading the usual insults to each other when wham! Rear-ended by a taxi. If the face on the driver wasn't sweet enough, when we switched on the blues, his fare told the officer who took their details that the cabbie was on his phone at the time he hit us and wasn't looking ahead, he was fiddling with the radio. Still have some muscle spasms in my back every now and again from that, even though it was 5 years ago. He got hit pretty heavy with fines at court. We got a stopover in hospital and a little compo. Not a cop, but feel this belongs here. Pull onto freeway. Car barrels across lanes. Pulls up and rides my ass. Starts flashing lights and honking. Police lights come on behind us all. I laugh hysterically. Drive unmarked car on highway. Horrific traffic jam for 15 miles in construction zone. Motorcycle approaches passing everyone on shoulder. Move unmarked car onto shoulder to force motorcycle back into traffic lane. Cyclist screams "move it, jackass." Lights go on. Priceless expression on cyclist's face. Not a police officer, but I witnessed this. Driving through central Nevada on a two-lane highway, leaving Beatty, I was taking a sweeping right-hand turn when a new Ice Camaro with a very distinctive set of stickers on the rear window passed on the left after crossing a double yellow line, and 1. Nearly was involved in a head-on collision with a semi coming the opposite direction, and 2. Nearly collided with the front of my car when he swerved back into my lane. In that part of Nevada the towns are roughly 60 miles apart. The next town is Goldfield, a notorious speed trap. About 5 miles outside, south of Goldfield, lo and behold, the Camaro is pulled over. Thank you NHP. About a half mile after I passed them, the NHP officer was apparently done giving them their speeding ticket. Camaro was clearly pissed, and once he was far enough away, he really took off, and in about 5 miles made up at least half or 3/4 of a mile, and I was doing about 80. Again, he crossed the double yellow line and passed me on a blind corner. When he passed me and was swerving to avoid another high-speed head-on collision for another illegal pass, he apparently missed the fact that the speed limit dropped from 75 to 25 in about a quarter mile. County cop was sitting just past the 25 miles per hour sign with a radar gun and nailed him going at least 80 in a 25. This was more the universe delivering the karma than me, but still. At a traffic accident once I was directing traffic waving the on round the roundabout because they couldn't go straight on as the accident was completely blocking that road up ahead. One car pulls up to a stop directly in front of me and the driver opens his window to ask something. He's completely blocked me now from the view of the traffic, so I move to the side and just shout, "I'm sorry, I can't stop to discuss anything. The road's closed. Move off the roundabout." He drives a few meters forward blocking me again, shouting through his window. I don't catch everything he says, but it includes at the end something like an angry "Why can't you just stop to speak to the people got are meant to be serving?" A car then promptly rear-ends him as he was blocking them from seeing me, and they didn't expect him to stop dead on an otherwise clear roundabout. That's why I made sure when I wrote it up the insurance companies would know who to blame. Obligatory not a cop. Driving on a highway at night in the fast lane, going faster than most of the traffic, but guy coming up behind me is flying. I start looking for a spot to move over, but the road is busy and I just can't. He comes up behind me and starts honking and flashing me, but I'm waiting for a spot and still haven't found one. Finally get room to move into the middle lane, and as he passes I just give him a head shake because he's being a knob. Well, doesn't like that. Moves into the middle lane, slows down just to inconvenience me, won't let me pass. Gets impatient with that and goes flying off. Well, in his desire to focus on me, he didn't see a cop pull onto the highway just a little ways ahead of him. Passes the cop without realizing it, and the lights immediately flip on. I felt like justice was served. I'm not a cop, but I saw this happen while I was waiting for the bus. It was nighttime, and it was raining really hard. This guy in a Mustang runs a red light and immediately gets pulled over by a squad car. Over the loudspeaker the cop ordered the driver to get out of the vehicle and put their hands on the roof of the car, which the guy does. Then, nothing. The cop just left him there for about 30 seconds getting soaked by the rain, then used the loudspeaker again. Next time you run a red light during a storm, don't do it right in front of a cop. Dumbus. Then he just drove away. I'm not a police officer, but work with transportation. These stories reminded me of a time I was helping direct traffic at an area we had a water main break. So I got 2 lanes going to one behind me, so I'd let one lane go for a bit, stop let the other lane go. About 20 cars back I can see this prick in a BMW hopping back and forth to whatever lane I'm allowing to go. So he's finally creeped his way up to second in lane, I'm letting the lane next to him go, and he tries to cut over on someone. The moment he does I put my hand up and stop him, and let the other lane go. He was fucking infuriated, I could see it in his eyes. He then tried to get over into the lane I was allowing to go, and I got to give him the "old fuck off, you're going nowhere." When he finally did get to go he stared me down as he drove by. Lol, fuck that prick. Not when I was working, but I was in some heavy traffic going into an event center. I noticed a squad car sitting on the median making sure people weren't doing stupid shit. Right as we are getting up to where the squad was, some jackass cuts across 2 lanes of traffic, cutting me off and going into a drive with a "do not enter" sign. All of this right in front of marked squad car. I made eye contact with the officer as he put down his coffee and flipped on his blues. Not a police officer, but I'm in traffic control. I have stories and pictures. One guy got his truck flown by a crane. That was fun to watch. Another didn't know how to drive the heavy machinery and got himself stuck on concrete highway divider. That was fucking funny. Then I had one dick refuse to listen. He could not park where he decided to park. He was warned to move his car twice. We had a CSO warn him. He refused to move, thinking that I was power tripping and just tattling on him to the big boys. Well, the CSO then hooked him up to our excavator by the rear axle and dragged his truck to where it was safe, then fired the guy for not listening to the traffic girl. It was officially stated as refusal to comply with safety authority and contributing to a hazardous workplace. Another time an asshole ran my stop sign. Then the ghost car behind him turned on his lights and sirens and pulled the fucker over. He was in a cone zone for double the fine for every infraction. Cop told me that today's tickets totaled over $1,200. I felt pretty good that day. LPT, obey your traffic control people. If you are friendly and kind, you better fucking believe we will bend over backwards to help you out and get you special privileges for being nice. If you think you are a special snowflake and are an asshole, you better believe we will hold your motherfucking ass up as long as we can. So be kind. We are humans too and don't deserve the level of abuse we go through. Wasn't the cop, but would love to buy this cop a beer. Was driving in a funeral procession for my grandmother. There were about 30 cars in total. As we are driving down a 2-lane road, a guy pulls into the oncoming lane and proceeds to pass all of us doing about 30 miles per hour over the speed limit. And when he reaches the front, he realizes there are 2 motorcycle cops leading the procession, blocking traffic on side streets as we go. One pulls the guy over. When we passed him, the cop had his finger about an inch from the impatient driver's nose and is obviously shouting at the top of his lungs. Made a whole bunch of mourners very happy. Car jumped a stop sign, immediately T-boned them, windshield shatters and everyone is rattled but okay. The other drive opens their door and 2 empty beer cans fall out onto the road. The driver behind us, witness, gets out and says to me, "Today is your lucky day," to which I answered with a blank stare, and he says, "I'm the chief of police and there's no way you could have stopped."